Hello, welcome. Today I'm talking about unleashing your digital charisma, how to attract, connect, and convert online in live videos just like this one. I got to tell you, when I was coming up with a title for this live stream, I did hesitate about the word charisma because I do feel like it's a little bit of a charged word. Um, But when I'm talking about your personal digital charisma and, about you and your business, it's not about being a rock star or somebody who is so over the top that they, you know, drag attract millions of people to them. Because I don't know about you, but I know in my business, I don't think I can handle a million customers or a million fans. I'm a small business and I want to work with a small boutique number of clients. So I don't need to be over the top, be seen by everybody. And I suspect if you're watching this, you feel like that too. You don't need to be the rock star. You just need to have um, enough of a magnetic personality that you attract your ideal clients, your niche, your um, your people, the people who absolutely connect with you, who get you, and who need what you have to offer. So I did hesitate about charisma, but I do think it does reflect what we're trying to achieve by going um, online and being live like this, doing pre recorded videos, even with our regular photos and captions on social media. It's about having a charismatic personality, something that stands out, that calls to your ideal clients. So, um, let's just dive right in and talk about this. But before I do, I would love to know if you're watching this live or if you're watching it on the replay. I'm just always curious. I know most people watch on the replay, but I'd love to know your when you're watching. And as you go through this, if there's something that really speaks to you that you went, oh my goodness, this is an aha moment, please share it in the comments. I love to know what connected with people. So I'm Andrea Stenberg. I'm a video marketing coach, which actually I suspect there are people who knew me when I was young who would think that's totally hilarious because I don't think I'm a natural, like, obvious person to be helping other business owners with their online video. When I was young, I was actually really painfully shy, and I still kind of at heart am shy. And I think, some people kind of laugh at that when I say that, but I really am. I've had to learn how to get out of my shell, get out of my own way, and, stand up and go, look at me, which is kind of what you're doing when you're posting on social media. But I think that's one of the things that helps my ideal clients because I get where you are. I get that you feel uncomfortable showing up, you feel uncomfortable, standing out and shouting, "Look at me," which is what marketing is about. I understand that, and so I can help you get past some of those points. And that's what this talk today, this video is about, is unleashing your digital charisma. And so one of the key features of being charismatic online is sharing your unique voice. And there's kind of two aspects to the voice. So the voice is actually the words you use and the messages that you convey, and there's also how you say it. So your style, your tone of voice, your energy level, those are all part of um, being authentic and sharing your unique voice online. And so one of the things about sort of the words you use is it's one of the reasons why I'm not a big fan of writing out a script word for word, putting it up on a teleprompter and then reading it, because I don't know about you, but I write a little bit more formally than I speak. And when I'm speaking and teaching and training, I have a more conversational tone. And that's where I find having point form notes and, definitely points that I want to make written out. But by not having a script word for word, it allows me to sound more like me. Um, Another part of sort of being authentic and having your unique voice is, if you're funny when you're working one on one with your clients, you should try to be funny online because you want the client journey when somebody, first discovers you online to when they go to your website, maybe explore and, look at what you do. And then when they actually meet with you, they want that you want that experience to be the same. So you want to be who you are. For example, I know this one coach who I met obviously before the pandemic, and he told me that whenever he meets somebody, he always gives them a big bear hug, which, okay, maybe a little bit weird. But anyway, he said the reason he does that is he knows if somebody kind of stiffens up or feels uncomfortable, they're not a good fit for him. They don't do well working with him, and he's better off referring them to a different coach. Whereas if somebody hugs him back, those are the people that resonate with him. So now obviously you can't physically hug somebody when you're doing a live stream, but for him, he needs to have that kind of touchy-feely, a heartfelt communication when he's online so that people get that he's kind of a touchy-feely type of person. So when you're doing your live streams, think about how can you let people hear and see what you would be like when you're speaking with them one-on-one so that you have that authentic voice that's weaved throughout all your marketing and all your interactions with people before, during, and after they're your customer. Another thing with sort of authenticity and building this captivating charismatic persona online is transparency. You want to be transparent in your interactions with people. And by transparent, I don't mean you have to like open the curtain and show all your dirty laundry. Hi, Anita. Nice. Thanks for joining us. So what do I mean by so you don't have to share everything, but you do want to be transparent enough so that people see what you're like. For example, I'm basically a one-woman show. I do occasionally have a virtual assistant. I have a tech guy who does backups on my website, but the bulk of what I do is me. And I don't try to pretend I'm a big corporation with a large team behind me. I'm me. And that's who I am. So that's, about transparency. Conversely, if you do have a large team, if it's not just you, for example, if you have a coaching program, but you're going to have other coaches working with your clients, don't hide that from people. You want to be transparent in what it's like to work with you. Another part of authenticity is don't try to be perfect. Imperfections are actually a gem when it comes to marketing, particularly for coaches, course creators, consultants who are working one-on-one with people because, well, first of all, it makes you more human. People know, okay, you're a real live person. And it's actually one of the reasons why I'm such a big fan of live video as part of your marketing, because it doesn't let you retake and reshoot. If you make a mistake in a live stream, you got to keep going because there's no do-overs. And that's, one of the things about that is so embracing your imperfections. But the other thing that I think is really powerful, particularly for coaches, course creators, and whatnot, is showing that you're not perfect makes it easier for your clients to envision themselves getting the kind of results that you talk about. Because, think about it. If you're a beginner and you're trying to learn something new, and the person who's going to be helping you there is so much above where you are, that can be intimidating and make you feel like, oh, I can't do this. But if the person in front of you is not perfect and makes mistakes and goes, oh, well, I made a mistake, but I can keep going and I can still get great results. It gives them a little bit more of an aspirational feel that they can go forward. So don't be afraid to be imperfect. It can actually make you more relatable to your ideal clients. Um, Another thing about building a charisma in your digital world, in your marketing online, in your live streams, and all your posts is, and this is where I think video it beats all other types of content, is showing your passion. Every entrepreneur I know who started a business has a story about why they started the business and something that they're really passionate about. And when you can share that, share your enthusiasm, share your passion for the subject, that just naturally draws people in. I mean, even I remember back when I was in university and I had this statistics professor who loved statistics. Like he thought it was the greatest thing in the world. And he didn't understand why everybody on the planet isn't studying statistics. And he just thought it was the greatest thing. And he loved it. And he had so much fun. So much so that I actually, for a semester, briefly considered minoring in statistics because his enthusiasm and passion for the subject was so infectious. It kind of made me want to like join in with that. And so that's part of building your online charisma is don't be afraid to show the fact that you are really passionate about your subject matter if you really love it. Or conversely, if there's something about your industry, some personal take that you have that's kind of a contrarian view, don't be afraid to share that either. Like I am very passionate about the idea that you need to get on camera. You need to show your face, whether it's in a live, whether it's pre-recorded, even if you're taking pictures of yourself and posting static pictures and a caption. I'm really passionate about that because I feel like that builds a connection with your audience. Another thing for, connecting and with your audience is, well, let me tell you. Back, this is like years ago, my very first webinar. I had promoted it. I had a bunch of people signed up. I had created slides. I'd rehearsed. I knew my stuff cold. And when it came time for the live webinar, I was a good little presenter. I turned off my phone so I wouldn't get interrupted in the phone. I didn't have any notifications turned on my computer, so it was all silent. And I went and I did my 90-minute presentation. And I'd forgotten to hit go live. And this was back before Zoom. Like, for example, Zoom, you can see how many people are on. And if there's nobody there, you can go, oh, wait a sec. Why is there nobody here? Oh, I forgot to hit the broadcast. Like you can't do that. But back in the day, you didn't know how many people were actually there live. And so I did an entire presentation without hitting the go live button. So why am I telling this story? Well, storytelling is one of the ways that you can connect with your audience. Now, I could have just said to you, you know what? It's a really good idea to have a checklist before you go live so you don't forget something. And yeah, that's true. But you're more likely to remember the time that I did a whole 90-minute presentation talking to myself because I forgot to hit go live. So telling stories is part of your digital charisma. And it's not just digital. I mean, back in the, in the days when we were living in caves and building fires, and that's where how we lived, we told stories. Human beings are natural storytellers. We're drawn to stories. That's why there's a movie industry and television and streaming services and books and radio and podcasts, because we love stories. So if you can find a way to tell stories in your live streams, in all your marketing, it's going to connect with people, particularly if you tell stories that resonate with you. Then it's going to factor in the, your personal voice, your style. It's going to show your passion because it's a story that you connect with, and it will allow your audience to connect with you. And in fact, in the early days of my journey, I think this is one of my biggest weaknesses is because I'm kind of a natural teacher and I want to teach and share all the information. But sometimes in the beginning, I would forget about the importance of telling a story that people can relate to. So if you can think of stories to go along with any of the points that you want to make, you're going to have a much more powerful presentation and you're going to connect more with your audience because then people can picture what you're talking about. They can imagine the emotions. They can maybe go, oh, yeah, that's happened to me. So you build that connection. And that's part of the charisma that you have online is when you connect with people and people think, oh, this person is like me, or this is somebody I would like to be like, or somebody I would like to know. So, storytelling, if you take one thing out of today's presentation, telling more stories is going to skyrocket your digital charisma. Another part of online charisma is can you encourage engagement and conversation with people? There's a reason we call it social media, not broadcast media, because it's supposed to be social. So, are there ways to connect with, get people to start a conversation, asking questions? Even just like I did at the beginning, saying, let me know if you're live or on the replay, you're starting a conversation. Can you, get encourage people to ask questions? So, sometimes do just a straight up Q&A call. And if people can't attend live, like one of the things you can do is early on when you don't have a lot of viewers to your videos is maybe you have an email list, send an email saying, I'm going to do a Q&A. If you can't attend live or you're not sure you can do it, email me your questions and I'm going to answer them live. But it gets people used to the idea that it's not just you speaking to them, but it's back and forth. So can you ask people to share, whether they're watching live or on the replay? Can you ask people to answer questions, get people to ask questions, do polls, do surveys? Some platforms let you bring viewers on, for example, Instagram Live. You can actually bring somebody who's viewing on live with you to talk with you. Same with some of the audio broadcasting media is you can have somebody come on live and ask a question. So anything you can do to get the conversation started, to make it a two-way conversation is going to build that digital charisma for you. Another thing to think about is consistency in your messaging and your personal branding, and even just consistency in showing up. So if you can show up regularly and have the same style of content. So for example, I have kind of bright colors in my branding on my website, on my social media. And when I show up, I try to wear bright colors. Like I actually do own black and gray, but I try not to wear them when I show up on a live stream because I'm trying to create an overall feel. And I mean, I do like bright colors anyway. Like I have colors in my house, but it is about the sort of the consistency. You want to get people to expect a certain way you show up, whether they're just discovering you for the first time, whether they've been watching you and following you on social media for a while, or whether they get on a discovery call. You want those people to not be surprised at the person who shows up. You want them to get to know you so that they feel comfortable. So can you be consistent in how you show up and when you show up? If you only go live twice a year and you only post on, Instagram 4 times, that's not going to build the consistency. So you need to be showing up regularly. You need to show up with a consistent messaging. So for example, I talk a lot about video and the importance of video. If I spoke about video and then the next day I said, you know what, video sucks. And then another day I talked about, I don't know, weight loss, that would kind of start being confusing. They go, who is this Andrea? What is she talking about? So can you be consistent in the types of things you talk about and how you talk about it and how you show up. Can you show up on a regular basis? You don't necessarily have to show up every day. You don't necessarily have to show up at exactly the same day and time, although that helps, but you need to be regular and consistent. Now, when I said you need to have consistent topics you talk about, a little caveat about that is, so I talk a lot about video and video marketing, but every once in a while I share some personal things that aren't necessarily about video. So you don't have to be like so rigid that you only talk about one thing. Like I don't only talk about video marketing. I mostly talk about video marketing. If you've seen some of my personal Facebook and my Instagram stories, I often share pictures of my pet rats and little videos of my pet rats because I'm a rat mom and I love my little fur balls. And I know some people think it's odd, but it's part of who I am. And it's interesting is that I does get conversation started because people will share with me, I have a guinea pig. When I was a child, I had a rabbit. I used to have a gerbil or things like that. So it lets people have a conversation and see how they connect with you. So be consistent in your messaging and what you say, but every once in a while it's okay to go off topic a little bit when it's letting people get to know you better. So I hope I gave you some good ideas for building your digital charisma. So again, we talked about um, authenticity and your unique voice, both in what you say and how you say it, transparency about what you do, how you do it, embracing imperfections. Don't feel like you have to be the perfect guru in order to attract clients. Being less than perfect actually makes you more relatable. um, we also talked about passion, the importance of infusing passion into your content and storytelling. Oh, yes. Don't ever forget about storytelling. And then also consistency, being consistent in how often you show up and how you show up. So, thank you so much for joining me today. I would love to hear in the comments if there was something particular that you took away from today that you are going to apply to your own marketing. Let me know. I love to hear it. And as always, thank you for joining me, and I will see you again soon. Bye.